middle. Help me with your career, just a little.
Got all the sound effects from the universe, because we're going to be talking about parental alienation. Baby's crying. The baby's crying because you're selfish. Now, okay. Today we're going to be discussing parental alienation and what I think about it, and how I believe that it affects the children, and exactly what parental alienation means. Because a lot of us will deny that you're alienating your child. Just for inquiring minds, this is not my child crying outside. The windows are open. You can hear the neighbor's children. I'm not doing anything to anybody's kids. I don't got kids. But I'm discussing the concept of parental alienation. Okay. So parental alienation is where one of the parents wants to badmouth. They want to badmouth. They want to, keep the kid from the other parent. They want to try to cause wedges and don't want the child to bond and be attached to the other parent for their own personal reasons that are outside of the child's benefit and welfare. Okay, so you have a lot of people. I was on Instagram earlier and I was looking and I seen a post where somebody was talking about if you can't move on, if shorty don't want to be with you and you hold that against your kid and all this and all that. It was funny to see that, because most of the times when people post memes, today's a difficult day. Most of the time when people post memes, okay, what they're doing is they're expressing something that's going on internally with them. So there's men who are in circumstances where they're upset at the women and they don't want to be in the child's life. Vice versa, there's women who are upset with the men, so they don't want the men in the child's life. So there's a lot of that going on, all right? It doesn't really matter whether it's the female or the man, but a lot of the times, and statistically, it's a lot of the women that are mothering. More women are with their children, single women, than there are single dads. And they are doing that because either the father is not wanting to be with them, the father doesn't make enough money for them or give them things that they want, or they can't control. To be honest, parental alienation comes from the other person wanting to control the other parent. You understand? If you don't want to be with me, you can't see the kid. If you don't got bread, you can't see the kid. If you ain't doing this, that, and the third, you can't see the kid. Whatever it is, everybody's different. Everybody has their own things. But this is what parental alienation is, and what pretty much is occurring on the subconscious level, on the deep level, on the ego level. That's what's happening, and that's the reason why you're even feeling like that. Now, there's some people who are actually all right, he's dangerous, or he's this, or he's that, or she's this, or she's that. There's real life situations that are out there with parents that they're not the best suit for their kid, and their kid is in their custody. You know what I'm saying? Because the other parent won't, call and report and make the proper, fill out the proper documents and get the proper things documented for the safety of the child, because they don't want to upset the other parent. But that also is not in the child's best interest. So this is the thing that I want to discuss is, when is your parental, the things that your parental instinct too much or too little? You understand what I'm saying? People, what are the reason why you don't want your son's father in his life? Is it because he's dangerous? He's a danger to your child's safety, physically, mentally, emotionally? Or is it because he does not abide by the rules that you would have him abide by in order for him to be an ideal baby father or child's father, or whatever you want to call him, father figure? Vice versa for the women. Why is the mother not involved? Is it because she wants to be with another man and not you, and she's not in a better position financially than you are? So therefore the argument is that she's, irresponsible. Meanwhile, she's a great mom. Because this is the things. Kids only go off of emotion and vibration. If they feel unsafe, they will show you signs as early as like infants. They will show you signs of not wanting to be with the other parent. And so, you have to be very close to your child and aware enough to see, what's going on with the kid and why the kid doesn't want to be around its other parent. And then there's, the child will be able to tell you as the child gets older what's going on, if anything's going on that's unsafe for the kid. But most of the time, the kids are not really, and not can't say most of the time, but if on the flip side, where kids are not in danger or going through anything like that with the parent, and the parent is just not giving you financial things that you want, sending you money when you want, how you want, in the form that you want, in the amount that you want, for the things that you want, or somebody not wanting to let go of you because you're not in a relationship with them anymore or want to be committed with them. These are the things that are not fair to the child. And because you think that your child is an extension of you and not individual, that's not fair to the child. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call that no names, but there's a personality disorder that comes with, where you think that things that you own or have the authority over are extensions of who you are. Therefore, they don't have their own personal preference or feelings that matter or need to be considered. You have to consider that. So your kid, although your kid is an infant or a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, just because the parent can't financially live up to the demands that you have for them, doesn't mean that they need to be alienated from seeing or enjoying or experiencing that child. Because that position for a person who's good intended, who really loves their child, it's like vital for the kid's growth and health. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's even parents who live with one another and they're like, well, I'll raise the kid my whole life. And, you're still a bad parent. You're still abusive. There's still domestic violence going on. You still don't work and still show up financially for the child, but you live in the house with the child or whatever the case may be. So this is what I'm saying. To what extent does the selfishness go? Sorry about that. To what extent does the selfishness go with being a parent? You understand? Because so much so, I'm seeing people who lives with you live with your children. You have both of the kids there, and the house is toxic. There's disrespect. There's people using. There's bad stuff going on in the house that has the house full with the kid being exposed to shit that's just not good for them. And that's fine. And nobody says nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, if one of the parents tries to leave and go get healthy, the other parent will be like, you can't see the kid. You can't be involved in the kid's life. You need not to be there. Oh, without causing some sort of telling the kid that the father or the mother is no good or, whatever, because it doesn't live up to your standards any longer. That is parental alienation, and that is wrong for the child at hand. That's really what I want to discuss. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of dudes, a lot of young guys in urban communities are fooled by the things that they see online, on TV, here on the radio, and they're taught to think that certain things in life are cool and acceptable. And it's sad because when I started learning universal law, I started to realize how much fucking trickery is in the things that we do and speak and act and believe, and how much that keeps us from being able to call in the exact ideal type of experiences that we want to have. So this is something that nobody really knows and nobody really practices, like outright, I guess. But it takes a lot of mastering. It takes a lot of energy for you to research this type of shit. So like, for instance, and we're talking about parental alienation. So this means that something happened in the relationships where you don't want to be in you guys are split and one parent is trying to alienate the other parent. Most of the times in urban culture, it's because either the dudes or the chicks, because it could be either or at this point where we're at in society, that catching feelings is like catching a disease. And it's like, oh no, I don't want to have emotions for this person that I'm sharing myself with, that I'm sleeping with, that I'm investing money and time and life energy into. Y'all don't look at it like that. Y'all look at it like, oh, I'm fucking with this nigga, I'm a finesse him before he finesse me, or shorty think she the only one, I got bad shorties or whatever, like, or you don't honor women. Like, there's so many different things. Now, that is an imbalance of the power of exchange, which is the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. So it's like, that's not going to render any type of positive results, especially if you guys have a child and one is trying to control the other with the experience. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's important for you to make sure the people that you are dealing with and the people that you're courting and the women and the men that you're sharing yourself with are people that are honoring the same core values that you honor. Because that way, when you guys go ahead and like have a child, like, a child is so magic, and people like really don't look at it like that. People like, oh, all right, whatever, it's normal, you're pregnant, you're having a child, we'll be at the baby shower, oh, congratulations. It's not, but it's the way I see it, I don't want to, like, but I do want to encourage you to think of it like this. But the way I see it is like, there's two whole other human beings separate, you know what I'm saying? Two whole separate people that never knew each other, wound up meeting, getting together, sharing some sort of a moment together, whether that just be physical or emotional, you understand, and physical. But when they share, they create a whole other human being, like a whole other human being. You understand? So that alone is super magic, and that shouldn't be squandered with just anyone. You should be knowing beforehand that this person is X, Y, and Z, and this person is most likely X, Y, and Z before you go and engage into having a whole life. And I know it's not easy. Like, mistakes happen, shit happens, you know what I'm saying? And we live in a culture where, like, casual sex is cool. You know what I mean? But I get it now, why the generations before us were like, yo, like, marriage, like, don't have sex out of wedlock, and so on and so forth. I get the idea of it, not necessarily that I follow that rule, because I don't, but you know what I mean? Like, I now am so much more conscious as to who I lay with. Like, all right, I need to make sure that this person does share the same core values that I share, and so on and so forth, in order for me to be so free with my body with them. Because if it did turn out that I wound up bringing in a child, even if we agreed later on in life that we're not for each other and we needed to go our separate ways, it wouldn't be something of malice where we in turn, like, affect the child and hold back the child from loving and bonding with the other parent, because it's something that's not ideal for the other one, because that's selfish. That's parental alienation. A lot of dudes, they go through child support and everything like that. And you have women that are probably like, yo, child support doesn't even do anything for us, or whatever the case. And that's because a lot of men that wind up not being in their child's life willingly are traumatized men anyway. You understand? And they come from a traumatized state. And most of the women that have babies with them are also traumatized prior to meeting them. That's why they're attracted to that kind of man. But when you guys get together, you don't recognize that trauma. You don't see it like, he's comes from a broken background, I come from a broken background. Let's work on, whatever we possibly can. That way, if we choose to bring life into this world, it won't be broken. Those steps are not taken until, oops, we're already pregnant. And then most of the time, nobody even thinks deep enough to make sure that the steps being taken are genuine and full of positive intentions and integrity. There's still a lot of fuckery going on while you're having children with other people, and you drag other souls in, and you detach from souls that want to be involved, and so on and so forth. It's a lot when it comes down to the spirit and the energy about it, because that's what I'm discussing. When I discuss my universal law shit, I'm talking about the energies at play that manifest the realities that you're facing. So basically, in parental alienation, it's a lot of vindictiveness and self-hatred and insecurities and things like that are really going on, which is why you're separating the child, or trying to force the child or make the child see the father as something separate from him too, or the mother separate from her too, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the parental alienation thing probably one day will be illegal. It'll probably be like super illegal. Or I'm pretty sure there is some laws. I don't have kids, so I don't know. But I have a lot of homegirls who have children with dudes they're no longer with. And I have a lot of homeboys who, vice versa. Same thing. I have children with they're no longer with the women. I have family members, my brother, you know what I mean? So, like, I know what it's like for parents to be drawn up into these characteristics of being no good for the child or so on and so forth. Meanwhile, really all that's happening is that people are traumatized and they're trying to do their best to figure out how to do, what's right for the children. And if not that, then there's people who are traumatized and have no fucking clue, and they keep staying in the self-sabotaging cycle. Now, for the people that are in the self-sabotaging cycle, when it comes down to their children and they just don't know how to get right or show up, or the guilt, the constant not being able to live up to the other parent's ideal or society's ideal or whatever, and that sometimes it depresses them so much that they get more depressed and go more inward and wind up self-sabotaging more, because it's so much easier to get fucked up and lost and blame yourself and be like, nah, fuck that. Or to lie and live in a delusion and the self-denial and say, nah, because the moms don't want me around and da-da-da. Because it's easier than being like, I'm traumatized and I have no idea where to start and where to get my best foot forward to provide for my child. Because they also have been raised with their mother telling them that their father ain't shit and he's a bum and he's this and that, and it's vice versa. You understand? It doesn't matter what sex you are, whether you're the mother or the father in this, because women are not exempt just because they're the mother and they carry the babies. You know what I'm saying? Some women are vicious and they purposely keep the babies away from the fathers because the fathers don't want to be with them. And some women are broken because the father doesn't know how to honor the woman, and they stay away because they feel like they're not good enough. And some of those women are broken because they don't even know how to reach that broken man. So it's you guys, whoever are watching, what category you fit into. But parental alienation is selfish, and it's you causing it, and it doesn't benefit the child. The only way you are benefiting the welfare and the health and the well-being of that kid is if that child's parent or father or mother is not safe for the child. If that parent uses crazy drugs in the house, is under the influences on heroin, is fucking nodding out while the baby, is in the house, leaving the oven on, and things like that, like hitting the kid, raping the kid, disrespecting other people in front of the kid, gang violence in front of the kid, shit like that, then that parent is not fit. And there should be a proper protocol that you follow, which is reporting it to the courts, to make sure that you're protected by the state's law, that this parent can't come in and infiltrate how you choose to raise your child. But if you just claiming shit like that, which most bitches do, no offense to those who don't, but a lot do, say that their men are hitting them and that their men are using them and this and that, just so they could go into like free housings and shelters, DV shelters and shit like that. And you are subjecting your child to situations that are detrimental for them, that are fucking gonna traumatize them, that are gonna put them in positions where they're gonna be unhealthy and not know how to correlate healthy emotions with healthy actions when they start growing up, because they've never been taught that. That is important. That shit is mad important. I don't give a fuck how dope your wig is and how well your nails is painted and how drawn on your face is, bitch. If you don't understand that shit, you a bird to me. Sorry. I just have to say that. You know what I'm saying? So that shit is important. And the same goes for men who allow their women to do that. Because there's men who allow their chicks to do that shit. Like, yeah, put me on child support, fill out whatever, so we can get, like, that shit is the wrong idea, and that's the wrong foot that you're stepping off on. You understand? Because then it becomes an unhealthy cycle that becomes the reality of these children, and these children grow up with no stable foundation. Even if a kid is born into a household that doesn't have both the parents in the household, the kid doesn't know no better. He only knows his reality or her reality. So if they're born into a home where the parents are cordial, like, yo, we broke up, we not together, but that's dad, not our mom, and dad is a super important person to me, and mom is a super important person to me, and we do our best for you, and we split you, and we love you, and we also know how to show up together and not judge one another because of our personal preferences. As long as the personal preferences aren't selfish and are for the best being of the child. So let's step aside of the child for a minute and let's focus on personal preferences as adults, right? Now, I'm with you, you're with me, we're in a relationship for X amount of time, and you now decide that this relationship no longer fulfills your needs, and you want out the relationship, and you have yourself a new girlfriend. Yes, of course, I'm going to be emotional about it. Yes, I'm going to feel some sort of way about it. And yes, it's going to take me a minute to adapt to it. But eventually I will. And with all due respect and honesty, I would appreciate it if you, the other partner, would respect me on that and still continue with their life and just patiently wait until things naturally unfold. But then at the same time, that's me requesting what I would prefer for you. What about if you meet somebody that you fucking head over heels in love with? What about if you was cheating on me this whole time with somebody and you love this person and this is who's it for you and this is what you choose to do and you want to get married to this person? Who the fuck am I really to say anything? I would have to allow you to make your choices and your personal preference in your life and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to have to, go through my emotions, because one thing that's not an option is the child. You know what I'm saying? The child is not going to be an option. You can see your kid and so on and so forth. And if you're going to marry somebody, I'd like to meet the chick so that way I can understand what type of vibe is around my kid. And this allows me to start to, see where things are going, make my own judgments and so on and so forth about it, and speak to you as an adult and ask that you compromise with me as a parent, right? This is ideally how I would deal with it, or how I think I would deal with it if I had kids. But I don't. So, I know you guys are going through your own situations and you have your own circumstances, but I just want you to consider that it's so important to consider one another. And not in a disrespectful manner. Not like, well, I told him I'm not comfortable with him having a new bitch, and I don't want my son around that. He ain't consider that. That's really not cool, and that's not fair for you to say that. He should be able to make his choices. And if his judgment calls for a woman to be around your child, then you're gonna have to make an executive decision as a parent and say, okay, I can't tell you what you feel about the woman personally, but if you feel like you're ready to have the kid around him, I need to meet her. You have to be an adult, and you need to be able to put your big girl panties on and go handle that and meet the woman with respect, because you also have to consider that this woman is going to be around your kid. It might be a positive influence or a negative influence on your child, and you need to be aligned with that. That's important. The resistance to accepting the alternate decisions that the other person is making is really selfish and a part of parental alienation, and it's going to cause for you to shift your child's opinion rather than let your child experience the other parent in its fullest. It's in its entirety, in its entirety, and make his own and formulate their own judgment. Even though they little, they still can make their own judgment too, So then on the flip side, a man, if you're with a woman who's like, yo, listen, like, I wasn't, I'm hurt, I don't know how to handle this is hard, try to consider how she as a mom will feel if the child is exposed to things, and just try to compromise it. Well, I can't really tell you what to say, or what to do, or because I've really not been in that position. So as the man, you have to also understand what the woman is going through, and you have to compromise that. And if you can't, really be patient and say, well, I can't do it until you're ready, or you understand what I'm saying, then you have to make your own personal executive decisions and assessments about the situation with the baby mom as well. So that's pretty much what I was just thinking about and what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope this helped you guys out there that are going through anything like this, that are falling out of relationships with people that you thought you was going to have forever with, are facing where you feel like your family's being ripped apart and stuff. And I sympathize with that. I really do. And it's not easy. Sorry. So yeah, it's not easy, and I do sympathize with it. But for the most part, you guys have to understand that you're not in control of nobody else. And I know you are in control of your child's, and you do have the authority over your child. But at the same time, the other parent should have that same equal right to share that life with that child without having to be forced or obligated to live according to your personal preference of a reality for them. And it's hard to understand that, you guys. But that's the new paradigm that we're in. And people are awakened to that. And you got to understand that. All right? I hope this helped. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you guys have not already subscribed, please do subscribe now on that little corner box down there. And click the bell so you can always get notified. And on August, I have a little special announcement to make. In August, August 22nd, we're already in August. We're August 2nd. But August 22nd and 23rd, August 22nd and August 23rd, I will be doing my first 2 live pop-up speeches or talks where you guys are more than welcome to come see me live, do one of my talks or 2 of my talks, engage in the talk, ask questions, come meet and greet, and things like that. So yeah, I encourage you guys to come out. I'll be updating you guys online with all the information and the flyers and everything like that. So keep that in mind. That's August 22nd and 23rd. So yeah, it's Leo season. Happy Leo season. I'm a Leo. I'm super hype about it. And that's it. We're out of here. I'm done.